I've got some sock design reveals for you, 2 where the color has been revealed, and 1 test call. Hello, my name is Emily Crow from The Cozy Crow, and welcome to my YouTube channel, and welcome to podcast episode 49. It's been a hot minute since I've done a podcast because I did all of my Vlogmas videos and was very busy in the month of December. If you're interested in watching those videos, I've got now 13 videos associated with Vlogmas, 12 traditional Vlogmas videos, and then 1 bonus where I talked about an advent that I opened during the Vlogmas season. Today, I'm excited to talk to you about everything that I completed in the month of December, and I even have a couple finished objects for this first week of January that I'm really excited to share with you as well. First things first, the honey pot socks have been revealed in full color now. This is the color A Trap for Heffalumps, and maybe honey pot is the name of this yellow. I can't quite remember. I'll make sure to have all the details down below because right now I'm just working off of my memory. I didn't finish these in December, but I released this pattern in December in conjunction with Dying Wishes Yarn Co.'s Winter Solstice box. They had a weekly countdown calendar you could purchase for the month of December that was based off of vintage Winnie the Pooh. So you see there's some honey drops, there's some bees buzzing around, they're closer together, closer to the honey pot, and then they kind of fade up. And then there's a duplicate stitched honey pot. Let me show you. Ta-da! So you do a little bit of everything. Duplicate stitching, some stranded color work. You've got this like fleece stitch type of design. I also have this pattern in DK weight, and this colorway is called Tigger's Can't Climb Downwards. And I think the orange might be Tigger himself. The contrast is not as stark with this colorway. It's a little harder to see the bees, but you can see the honey pot and you can see the drips of the honey very clearly still. So yes, those patterns have been released now, and they are now in full color version on both my Ravelry and my Etsy shops. Those will be linked down below if you are interested in purchasing those patterns. They are each available in 3 adult sizes. Ideally, I would love to size this out for smaller sizes as well, so you can make little honey pot socks for little ones, but I have not gotten around to that yet. So that's like my big news. And then also I did Vlogmas in December, so make sure to check out some of those videos. I've got some yarny vlogs, I've got some bookish videos, I've also got some wintry type videos. We traveled for Christmas to visit my family, so we've got a travel and packing type of vlog. So make sure to check out any of those videos that are interesting to you. And just a note, I am working on a ton of videos right now for like finishing up 2024, kind of my reflections on the year, and looking forward to 2025, different goal type videos, set TBR for the year, things like that. So make sure to keep an eye on this channel for lots of really fun videos coming your way in the yarny and bookish realms. And with that being said, let's talk about my latest finished objects. First, I was so happy I was able to finish all of my Christmas gifts just in time for Christmas. It was a little bit of a stressful time, but I did it, and I'm really happy about that. First, I finished my mom's vanilla socks that I knit her. I used Life in the Long Grass in the colorway Halcyon, which is this really beautiful like maroon with some purple and some gold and some orange, variegated color. I also had a gold scrap in my stash that I was able to use to kind of contrast this main color, and I think these socks turned out really, really stunning. It actually wasn't too hard to find the measurements I took from my mom's feet a couple of years ago for the first pair of socks I knit her, and to just replicate that and make another pair of socks. It was also really nice to have a pair of vanilla socks on the needles, and so those got done faster than anything else because I just brought them everywhere with me, and they were very easy to work on and get a lot done with them. So I just have a picture because they have been gifted, but let's talk about a gift for my dad next. I made the Urbana scarf by J.H. Walter, and this is a free pattern that has some really cool cables. In the middle, they are like constantly undulating, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And then on the edges, there's some bigger cables that you do kind of staggered up with some breaks in between. There's also a ribbed texture intermixed with that bigger cable on the side. So it's a really fun texture to work up. I knit this with Malabrigo Arroyo in the color Fresco y Seco, and I held it double because the pattern calls for air and weight yarn, and Arroyo is like a sport or like a really light DK type of a gauge. So I figured holding it double, I'd be able to make a good sized scarf. And it honestly worked out perfectly. I just used 4 skeins and I alternated when I started my skeins so that any kind of transitions between skeins was a little bit more subtle. It's this beautiful like green blue type of variegated tonally color, and I was really excited to pick this out for my dad. I knew kind of the direction we were gonna go. I worked really hard to keep the actual pattern a secret from him since he already knew the color palette I was going to draw from to knit this scarf for him. And he really liked it. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It did take me way longer than I anticipated, and so this was probably the most stressful part about finishing Christmas gifts because it just took so long to knit a full-length scarf, even though it was an errand weight with all things considered. It was just a large project, honestly, much larger than knitting a pair of socks. But I was able to finish it just in time, package it on Christmas Eve to put under the tree, so I'm really happy about that. Other Christmassy type of gifts, I wanted to make Christmas Eve socks for my family, my husband, myself, and my 4-year-old, and I followed the same pattern for all 3 of these socks and used the same yarn. I made the Lights on Main socks by Kim Jackson of Hookah Canyon, and it's just the simple texture. Let me pull it up for you. This is one of my socks, but it's just the simple texture with mostly some slip stitches. It was pretty intuitive to work on, and so once I got used to the pattern, it was pretty easy to just take it with me on the go, honestly. So even though it was 3 pairs of socks, it wasn't nearly as hard to get done as I had anticipated, but they did take a back seat for other projects, and so I was working really hard to get these done closer to Christmas when I could have probably done them earlier, but oh well, they got done in time, and that's what matters. The yarn I used was Search for the Perfect Tree, this main color, and Verdant, this contrast color, and these are both from Wishfire Fibers, and they are from their Home for the Holidays collection that I have honestly drooled over for a while, so I bought a bunch of it last Christmas time, and the yarn didn't come in time for me to knit Christmas socks out of this yarn for last Christmas, so I made it my goal to knit them this year, and I'm really happy with how they turned out. Like I said, this is my sock, a little bit taller of a leg, but nothing crazy. I just wanted, more cozy things I could wear with my ankle boots kind of thing. My daughter's sock, because she is 4, so I modified the pattern to make a 48 stitch count sock, like so freaking cute. I wanted a little bit of a leg so they'd have an easier time staying on her feet because kids and socks, like socks just fall off all the time. I'm really happy with how this turned out. She complained that she didn't have the dark green for the heel, so now I know. Next time, I need to make her socks match my sock. But I thought the balance of colors worked better to do only the cuff and the toe in the dark green, but what do I know? I'm just mom. And actually what's really funny is I had to use different skeins for each of her socks because I didn't have quite enough yarn to make the second sock from the first skein of yarn. I was able to make my husband's socks and my socks and one of my daughter's socks all with 1 skein of yarn, which was awesome. So one of these socks, I don't know if the coloring will show up, but one of these socks, this one, is a lot darker. And now shadows are starting to show up, so it's a little harder too, but this sock is significantly darker than the other sock, and that's just because they came from different skeins. So hand-dyed nature, things are a little different, so that's just kind of a funky thing I noticed. As far as my husband's socks, I have not washed them since my husband has started wearing them, so they are a little bit stretched out, I would say, but these are his socks. He wanted ankle-length socks because he really doesn't like any leg on any of his socks. And while his foot is the same circumference as mine, it's quite a bit longer, like 1.5 inches or so longer. So they look almost wrong because there's only a foot and it's a very long foot. But they do in fact fit him really well, and he's really happy about it. And it was just so nice to be able to do this project. I've knit socks for my family in the past as like a Christmas Eve type of a gift. I have 2 other years I've done this, and even though it's a lot of work to try and make socks for my whole family in time for Christmas, I've gotten a lot of joy out of it, and so I definitely want to try and do this tradition next year. I also finished, and this was a January finish, I finished a Musselburgh, and I have not blocked it yet because I didn't want it wet for this podcast, but this is the yarn. It is so stunning. So pretty. This blue and this pink together. The only thing that would make this even better is if there was more of the pink, because I really love this pink in this hat. It's this really beautiful variegated. This yarn is from Fangirl Fibers. It was part of their holiday romance countdown calendar that they did in December. So each week you opened a skein of yarn, and if you so chose, you got the book that inspired that yarn color. And then on Christmas as well, you also opened another skein of yarn, which was this one and the book associated. The book was A Holly Jolly Ever After by Sierra Simone and Julie Murphy. Am I pulling that out of my brain right? This was 100% my favorite colorway in the whole box. And since this wasn't part of like the weekly countdown, I wanted to make this my like Christmas Day cast on or like week of Christmas cast on. I waited a couple days to cast it on because I just wasn't in the mood, but I definitely wanted to start it on my trip to visit my family. I got a lot of knitting done while watching Wicked with my family. I loved it. It was a really good movie. And it was just a really nice project to work on while we were traveling and just doing mindless stockinette for forever and to let this colorway shine. So I am really happy about this hat, and I am excited to block it so I can finally put it together and put it to good use, because I know that blocking will just add some really nice drape to it and kind of even out some of the stitch irregularities from my humanness doing some hand knitting. And I can use a wool wash to make my hat smell really, really nice. I've just got a couple works in progress or whips to share with you today, but one of them I am beyond excited about. I've been working all afternoon to try to get this design to turn out how I wanted, and I am so excited with how this is turning out. And so we're going to start with this one, because down below I will link a pattern test call if you're interested in testing this design. I plan to size it for all sizes from newborn up to like adult extra large, like I've done with some previous designs of mine, and I am so excited. This is the Romance Reader sock. Oh, it's so cute. This is inspired by actually a pair of socks that I saw at a local bookstore that just had some cute clothing and accessory type items that are like book related. And there was a pair of socks that kind of looked like this, and I thought I would love socks like that. Let me design my own pair. And so they are mostly a vanilla sock until you get to the end of the leg, and there's this really cute ruffle with just the edge in a fun color, and there's a duplicate stitch design of a bow, and I am honestly so excited with how this turned out. I am obsessed. And so I'm going to include a couple different bow designs so you can kind of choose what design you want to include on your sock, but that means this is a really easy colorwork project with just like a little detail that you can just duplicate stitch on. I'm very excited about this design, and I'm going to be releasing it in time for Valentine's Day. So if you're interested in testing, let me know down below. Go to my tester application, and I hope to see you in the test group. It is a toe-up sock. I've been doing a lot more toe-up sock designs recently because of the geometry of the designs that I want to work on serve toe-up designs more. Though personally, I really like a cuff down sock too. So don't worry, I'll have some cuff down sock designs coming soon. Speaking of which, I know this does not look like much, but a little bibba sock, literally a newborn sock. It's so tiny. It is a 32 stitch count sock. And I am making this because I want to make a series of geometry of socks, sock designs, where if you want to, you could purchase the whole bundle and then get access to size all the way from newborn up to adult extra large socks in toe up, cuff down, heel flap gusset, short row heel. I'm going to be part of the Knit Your Wardrobe Summit that's happening in February, and I'm going to be doing a presentation on the geometry of socks because there's a ton of different constructions that you can go for. I've always been a geometry lover. I love geometry and just visualizing how different shapes work together, especially to make a 3D shape like a sock. Like, it is mind-blowing and so fascinating to me. So I'm really excited to talk about these different constructions of socks. And so as preparation for that presentation, as well as for like an extra bonus item that you can get if you want to purchase the super pack, I'm going to be designing basic patterns for all sorts of constructions: cuff down, toe up, heel flap gusset, short row heel, DK weight, fingering weight. Like, there's gonna be like maybe 8 or 10 patterns that you can buy as part of a bundle, and they will be included in the super pack for this Knit Your Wardrobe Summit. I'll also have them separately on Ravelry and Etsy, but that won't be till after the summit takes place. And so if you are really interested in getting into sock knitting and you want some really good step-by-step instructions and understanding of different constructions of socks, or maybe, you know, you've become familiar familiar with short row, but you really want to try heel flap gusset, or you're really used to making adult socks and you want to branch out and knit some smaller size socks without having to worry too much about the math, I got you. I'm going to be doing all of that and including some pictures, and I'm making a ton of little baby socks in different color palettes to use for both my summit presentation as well as for these basic sock geometry sock patterns. So that's a big project I'm going to be working on this month, and come February will be the actual summit. So I'll make sure to include more information when we get closer. So keep an eye on this channel, especially keep an eye on Instagram at Crochet Creations if you want to learn more about the details of this summit and the other really awesome speakers that Knitting with Chopsticks has gathered in order to make this an amazing summit that you can have access to. So now that I have finished this sock design and can start working on the math and maybe make a baby sock of this just to, double check my math, maybe highlight a different color palette, etc. I'm going to be spending a lot of time knitting all of those baby socks, and I don't have a baby to give them to, so maybe they won't even get pairs. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten that far yet. The only other whip that I want to talk about is my Everett pullover. This is the only thing that I'm kind of bummed I did not get to in the month of December. This was going to be my Christmas sweater, and I started it in August. I was doing so good, and then I just got so busy with filming and editing Vlogmas videos and then trying to work on Christmas gifts that I did not finish this in time. And because I wasn't going to finish in time, I didn't stress myself over trying really hard to get it done by the end of the year. I just figured I would leisurely work on it for the next little bit because I could still wear it in the coming months because we are still in the middle of winter here in Utah. But I finished, I didn't really finish a sleeve. I have one sleeve that I have put on hold because I finished the length and stitch count provided in the pattern, and I want to wait to knit the cuff until after I block the sleeve to make sure that it fits me how I like, or if I need to lengthen it or whatnot. I just don't want to have to undo a lot of knitting, and since I do not have a super strict deadline, though I'm about to give myself a strict deadline, I figured that would make me happiest. I am on the second sleeve, and I made like a good 1.5 inch progress last night, just kind of hanging out with my husband while he played video games. And so I definitely want to make some more progress on the sleeve. Once I have both sleeves done, then I'm going to block the sleeves because I've already blocked the front and back panel, and I did that in order to seam it, make sure it fit me well. I really like how they fit. I might rework the collar. It feels a little bit loose to me, so I might go down a needle size again. But once the sleeves are done without the cuffs, then I'm going to block them, try it on, see how it fits, and then hopefully just add the cuffs after that. Worst case scenario is I have to rip back a little, or I have to add a few more rounds, and then I can add the cuffs and be done with the sweater. So I'm honestly pretty close to finishing it. Problem is, for my mother-in-law's birthday, I organized all of us kids to get a photo shoot for her, since she keeps talking about how she wants to do a family photo shoot, because the last family photo shoot, there's been a few grandkids born since then, and it's been a few years. And so we have a photo shoot coming on Saturday. Can I finish this sweater by Saturday? Because we're using maroon as one of our colors. So I really want to wear this to the photo shoot. That would be awesome. I don't know if I can finish it in time, but I am off work the next couple days. So fingers crossed. Now that design, I've done my knitting on that. Maybe I can bang out this sleeve, get it blocked maybe tonight or tomorrow, have a day to work on the cuffs and weave in ends, and then be done, maybe? I don't know. Let me know down below if you think I will have this finished by then. I will put a pin comment and let you know if I, in fact, finished it. And you may see some pictures on my Instagram from that photo shoot if I do, in fact, get to wear this to the photo shoot. Fingers crossed that happens. But this is my Everett pullover. If you're new here, this is by Fine Fiber Co. I think Jessica Thomas is the name. I have wanted to knit this pattern for a very long time. I've owned the yarn, I've owned the pattern for a while now, years. And so I'm really excited to finally get it done. I do want to knit more garments in this next year. I will have a making goals video that will be coming out sometime this month, so keep an eye out for that. But that is one of the things I really want to be more intentional about, because this past year I had 0 goals and I was a little aimless in my making. I want to have more direction because I do like making plans and making goals and having deadlines and things, just the way my personality is. I'm type 8, can you tell? I I got quite a lot of yarn goodies between Advents and some end of the year purchases that I made, even a few pre-orders that came earlier than I was anticipating. There was like 2 or 3 that were supposed to come in January that came in December. So I have been inundated with yarn. I'm not going to share everything, but I'll share a couple things that I'm really excited about for some upcoming projects that you can look forward to. I still have a lot of like sock sets over here that don't necessarily have a plan, just some colors that were calling to me. But let's talk about a couple of projects that I have coming up that I'm really excited about. Let's find out what the pattern is. Way to go me for putting it in my Ravelry queue so I could find this pattern again. First up, Sorella Yarn does some seasonal color palettes, and usually I'm like, this isn't super limited edition, it'll come back next year. I don't necessarily need it, though having beautiful hand-dyed tonal yarns, tonals or semi-solids, are really perfect for garments. So maybe if I want to make more garments, I should buy more tonals and semi-solids, but that's a discussion for another day. But they came out with this limited edition colorway for like the first weekend of their winter palette or something like that called Snowdrift. And I love it. So beautiful. Perfect variegated colors. And it works perfectly with every single tonal from this kit. Like they did a really amazing job. And so I got the minis, the full set to go with this to make a project. I'm going to be making the Travel Mode 2.0 by Suzanne Sommer. And looking at the diagram, I was able to figure out how I can use all 10 of these colors. There's a diagram, there's even an uncolored one so you can like color code and figure it out. But I think if I do like 2 sections in each color, like mirrored on opposite sides of this shawl, then it'll be perfect. And looking at people's projects and like how much yarn they use, I was able to extrapolate. I think I should be good using just minis and then having my main color be this variegated, which should be really fun. There's like a couple random thin stripes of this, plus some triangles at each side. This will be a really fun project that I've had my eye on for a while, but I haven't ever felt truly inspired to work on it. And I just needed to do something with all of these yarns. And so before I purchased them, I made sure I could find a project that would really suit this color palette, both the minis and having this Snowdrift variegated with them. And I'm really happy about these colors and I'm really excited to use them. I also grabbed another skein of Snowdrift in worsted because I want to make another Wonderland hat. This is my own pattern. I'll make sure to pop a picture up for you if you're not familiar with it, but it is a crochet design that has this really cool like split cluster type of a stitch along the brim, and you can unfold this brim to make the hat longer and slouchier. There's a couple different fits within this pattern. It's also designed for baby up through like adult large, and so you could make matching hats for everybody. And I just thought that this would be a really beautiful hat. And so I wanted to do a variegated version of my Wonderland hat because I haven't done that yet. I thought that would just be a fun like palette cleanser type of a project. And then finally, the last yarn that I really want to share with you today is for a Doppio sweater by Seung-hee Hwang. I apologize if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but this is yarn from Dying Wishes Yarn Co. Trying to show it without too much of a glare. This color is called Olive Branch. I got 3 skeins of the sock weight and then 2 skeins of the Surrey. And then I'm gonna hold this yarn with it. This is Bouquet. And I'm pretty sure that Sarah had this yarn for maybe like a trunk show or a fiber festival that she did or something. So I've been eyeing this yarn for a while and she finally released it as like a limited edition pre-order. So I knew I wanted to make something because I've been eyeing these colorways together. I had an idea, what about the Doppio? I feel like lots of people have been making it. It looks like a simple sweater, but everyone who's made it has really loved the fit, and I decided, you know what, if I want to make more garments, I should just do it. It would have been slightly cheaper to get a thicker weight yarn and hold it with a Surrey instead of having 2 fingering weight yarns to hold together, but looking at this beautiful bouquet variegated color, I wanted to mute this so it wasn't quite so variegated because I thought that would make a more wearable sweater. And so I talked myself into holding the olive branch and the bouquet together, and then holding it also with the surrey in the olive branch color. And I am really excited to see how these colors play together, especially being held together, and how it kind of makes it more muted, but also has a little bit of that variegation behind it still. This will be a very cozy sweater, so I'm gonna try to make it a little bit more oversized. So hopefully I'm not gonna be super hot in it. Like, I hope it's a really breathable fabric still. It is a bulky weight gauge, so it should work up really quickly. But yeah, I'm gonna go for a slightly larger sweater, I think. Whatever I can get away with this yarn, so that hopefully I have some breathing room is the goal. But we shall see. I would love to cast that on soon, but once I finish my Everett pullover, then I can think about these other projects that I really have in mind. So hopefully I can finish my Everett pullover this week for our photo shoot on Saturday. Make this too long of a podcast because we are celebrating my mother-in-law's birthday tonight, and I'm going to be unveiling our gift to her, so I need to make a card really quick. I gotta pick up my daughter from daycare. We've got things going on. The light is going down, and you saw a lot of what was happening with us in Vlogmas, so I definitely encourage you to check that out if you want to know more about the things I was making, the things I was reading, what we were doing to celebrate the holidays, how we were getting through that busy season. Now that it's January, we are looking forward to getting our kitchen redone soon, though we don't have a date in mind yet. They are still working on building the cabinets. It's going to be a really huge and honestly expensive project. So that's a little bit stressful, but our kitchen does really need a revamp, not just because of the annoyances and things that are going on with a kitchen from like the 1920s. It's literally over 100 years old, but also the electrical situation is not very safe at the moment. So a lot of the cost will be fixing the electrical in the kitchen and getting it up to code. And so I'm really excited to feel like our kitchen is a much safer space electrical wise. And we probably won't be spending a lot of money in our house for a few years after getting this kitchen reno, but it'll be really exciting to have it done when it is done. When that happens, I may have to film outside the house for a podcast. We shall see, but TBD when that is happening. Other than that, we are just like coasting into the new year, trying to get our feet under us. We came back home from New York right before New Year's, and then both my husband and I had to go right back to work on the 31st, and it was just, we didn't have enough time to kind of decompress from our trip. And so we're finally starting to kind of get our feet under us and kind of get the house back in order. So it feels really good to be home. It was really good to visit my family too, but it feels really good to be home. So hopefully we'll have a little bit more time to get settled in, kind of get ourselves organized. I got a new shelving system, like a new drawer system that's underneath my desk over here. So I'm really excited about that, to start organizing some more of my like stationery and computer electronic type of stuff in there, to kind of clear up some space on this desk so that I can have a better workspace, since I have really enjoyed doing some video editing and kind of delving into that realm. My husband actually got me Final Cut Pro for my laptop for Christmas, which was so beyond what he needed to do. That was a sweet surprise from him. I've not taken the time to learn Final Cut Pro yet because I have a lot of content coming out right now and lots of things I just need to work really fast to get it out and do less editing than I even do normally. So I don't really have time to learn a new system, but hopefully in February, my videos will start looking a little different because I'll be able to branch out and try some things in Final Cut Pro. So you can look forward to that if you are liking this type of content and want to see more from me. And on that note, thank you so much for being here to listen to this podcast, see what I'm working on and the things I'm looking forward to. Let me know what your favorite finished object is that you have had recently. I get so many ideas from all of you in the comments below on the different things that you are making, a lot of different patterns that I never would have known about if you hadn't told me. So definitely let me know down below if you are working on anything or have recently finished anything that you absolutely love. And if you're interested in testing the Romance Reader Socks for me, go down below and apply to test these. Again, they'll be available in sizes baby all the way through adult, extra large, all included within one ultimately size inclusive pattern. I'm very excited about that. I'm excited about this Knit Your Wardrobe Summit that's coming up pretty soon, so keep an eye out for more information on that. And if you want to find out more about what's going on with me, you can follow me at Instagram at Crochet Creations, and you can subscribe to this YouTube channel and hit the bell notification to be notified every time I post a new video, because as a mom and a nurse, I post consistently but very irregularly. So I would love for you to know whenever I'm able to post a new video, because I can't honestly say when that'll happen. It just kind of depends. I'm so grateful that you're here. Thank you for joining me as I shared about all the things that I'm working on and that I'm excited about for this new year. And until next time, happy making. Bye!